Was it during your time in Formula 2, the race in Spa that went viral because of your quick reactions to save yourself and a number of other drivers from actually a very nasty accident?
Yeah, good link that. I quite like the way you sort of link that one through. That video was an interesting one because I put it up not expecting to get anything from it. It was a Spa 2012, really, really wet circuit. And I remember thinking, I can't really see anything. I was sort of driving along the straight. There were some yellow flags out, which meant slow down, there's an accident somewhere. And I remember just thinking, gosh, I literally, there's so much spray from the car ahead. I think I was about 7th or 8th. I was basically like, well, this is quite dangerous. And the moment I sort of thought that, I just saw like a red flashing light on the car ahead. And you see it when if you get to sort of replay it a couple of times, you'll see the red light. And as soon as I see that, I kind of turn and react. And just avoided. There was like 5 cars. It would have been a huge pileup. More importantly, for me, I was doing about 130 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour. It wouldn't have been pretty to smack square on the car ahead.
You mentioned just there, and a lot of people will not know this about you, as you were obviously born in Ghana. You grew up in Ghana until the age of 9, I think it was. What kind of life experiences has that given you that you've then taken into the boxing world? Of course, you've probably seen the extremes of the way people live in Ghana from the poverty through to very well off people. Do you think those experiences at a young age have kind of molded you?
Yeah, I think, like you said, having been exposed to the extreme ways in which people are living and the bare minimum, Toby, that people survive with, and you see people that have a lot but they're content, and they are not content to say that they don't have aspirations, but they are content with what they have, and in a sense that they're happy. Whereas sometimes in this part of the world, we have a lot of things, but we're still not complete, we're still not happy. And they have the bare minimum and they're happy. And in relation to that in boxing, I'm just grateful for everything. Not taking things for granted, getting in the ring, coming out full health, and my opponent's healthy as well. And to, I've had 12 fights, to be able to say, look, I've had 12 fights, I've won all 12, not to take it for granted. But every little thing, man, I can't express how grateful I am for it. Do you know what I mean? I've seen, people that have nothing, absolutely nothing. I can't even put it to words, but I've seen people that have nothing, people that don't know when their next meal is, what they're gonna eat next. And you see me, Toby, I've planned my next 10 meals in my head already, but there's people where they don't even know when that's happening. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm grateful for life as a whole, man.
Have you had any nuggets of advice or any chance encounters with any big names in the industry that have maybe given you just that bit of encouragement? Or, for example, a time where you've really got to see that, the behind the scenes stuff is what people love to see. They don't necessarily know what goes on inside a garage or, after a race in the locker room or whatever. Have you had any moments or encounters with names that we will know and are popular among the general public and sports fans that have stuck with you?
I'm really sorry, Matt. I was focusing on nuggets as a word, so I don't even know what the question is. I was thinking of a pun, vegetarian, and I was like, I'm sorry, I have no nuggets of information because I'm veggie. It's just not funny.
Laugh that again.
Yeah.
This is what people love.
Nuggets. Go on. Don't use the word nuggets, though.
Okay, I won't. Snippets.
Okay, snippets is fine.
Okay. During your racing career, have you had any... I can't concentrate now. This is the problem, isn't it?
No.
What was it like, first of all, to become an Olympian, and then second of all, to actually get up on the podium as well?
Yeah. Till this day, the best experience, 100%. And to sum it up, there was a coach on the Great Britain team, he's still there. And he said, "Oh, Josh, so the top you're wearing," I said, "Okay." He goes, "That's the world." And I was like, okay, cool, that's the world. And he goes, look at a little dot on the top. I haven't got a dot on my top, but just say if there's a little patch there. He was like, that little patch are the amount of people that are Olympians to the amount of people that are not. So I was like, wow, this whole t-shirt, that little patch there are Olympians. So that's one thing. And then he said, now think of how much smaller that patch would have to be within that big patch for you to be an Olympic medalist. So it puts it into perspective. I was like, wow, it's a very, very elite club. Did I do anything special to get into it? No, I'm as normal as Dave walking down the road. It took a lot of hard work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say I didn't work hard for it. I worked. I always say to people like I died for it, but I didn't obviously clearly die. But I committed to it, and in terms of the hard work and the dedication, I committed myself to it. I gave myself up for it. Like I can't put enough emphasis on. Like I just remember the weeks and the months and just being consistent in what I did, and this is where it led to. So a great experience, man.
When I started karting, I got in a kart at 7, but racing, I think it was like 10 to 12, something like that. Racing karts at that age, quite, you look back 10 years old or 12 years old, that's quite a big thing, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a go-kart. I don't know how fast it went, probably 40, 30 miles an hour. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, so I started that when I was young and then moved into car racing at 14, 15, and then single-seater racing at 16, all the way through to 22 years old, I think I was. And the goal firmly was Formula One and trying to make it all the way up to up the ladder. I raced in Formula 3 and test drove Formula 2, so one step below F1. And I was on the Formula 1 package weekend, which was pretty cool experience. But yeah, I mean, it was a cool time in my life. But Formula 1, I mean, if you think about the odds to get there, I mean, there's 20 seats and I mean, gosh, thousands of drivers. So it's very, very minimal, the chance to get in there. And we decided to move over to sports cars as sort of more of a career move for me back then. But yeah, Formula 1 was the goal, and I'm sure it's probably 99% of most drivers' goal when they're starting out in their careers. Certainly, if you went to all the karting circuits at the moment, if they were going, and you asked them, I'm sure most of them would say Formula 1 is their goal.